Hello there. Welcome to the Greater Good. I'd like to first off thank my sponsors, San Diego Harbor Police Foundation, for their generosity in providing this podcast to the public. The Greater Good, which the intent of this podcast is really to draw attention to those people that I personally believe contribute to our community in a very meaningful way. I mean, certainly there are many people out there that write checks and support all these nonprofits and organizations that do wonderful work in the county, but there really are a handful of people that do a lot more than just support us and other nonprofits financially, and they do that with boots on the ground and meaningful dialogue, meaningful cooperation, creating pathways to success for whatever that organization happens to support. So with me today, I'm really excited. In fact, I dressed up, I put on a nice jacket and brushed my teeth and everything, because today I'm going to be talking with probably one of the, well, certainly the top cop in San Diego County, my good friend, Summer Stephan. Hi, Summer. How are you?
Hi, Jeff. So good to be with you. And just the name of the program, The Greater Good, makes me want to be a part of it. It's exciting.
Well, you are a part of it in so many different ways throughout your wonderful career. I mean, when you were a former prosecutor, you were very, very highly respected in the courtroom. Some might say even fearsome. You just look sweet, but within that is a real tenacious, hard-fighting, powerful person. And speaking of your prosecution days, I think I read you prosecuted in court maybe over 100 times during your career. Is there one case that just kind of stays with you forever?
You know, all the cases really matter. The victims that lose so much, and you're trying to restore some justice for them, whether they're victims of human trafficking, rape, robbery, murder. But one of my latest cases before I became a chief deputy DA and then DA was a school shooting that happened at an elementary school in Carlsbad. And it just left a huge impact on me. Fortunately, the two girls that were shot at close range survived, and I'm still in touch with one of them, and so proud of her, proud of all of them. But also just to come upon a scene like that with 50 little kiddos, under the age of 7, that had to face that kind of terror, the brave teachers and staff, and then taking them through a 2-year legal process and a jury trial that had 2 phases, part whether he was guilty, and then the part where he claimed he was insane, so that he doesn't have to take a responsibility, and being able to bring justice on both phases was a big deal. Beyond just the jury trial itself, which was very tough and really important, it was about making sure that we leave that community and the kids in better shape than we found them.
Yeah.
That we take care of their trauma, their other needs through victim services, through mental health. And not just about the trial, but the long-term success of the people there. And I try to view all our cases that way. It's not just about kind of getting justice and winning the trial, but also treating those participants with dignity and respect, and making sure they're okay.
That says so much about you as a person. I mean, I know that your position is a political appointment. The people have to vote you in, and of course, overwhelmingly, the public has supported you throughout your career, and I'm sure that that'll continue as long as you want that job. But you do go above and beyond in so many ways. I've watched you throughout your career as district attorney here in San Diego, and I've been with you at some meetings and whatnot. And I'm just kind of blown away by your schedule. I mean, your your daily life is what time do you wake up in the morning? 3, 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that?
It depends, but yeah, in the 4 hour,
Right.
just begin the day, unless of course there's those midnight and 2 a.m. calls when something bad happens and you have to deal with the crisis at the time. But yeah, it's a good 80 hour, 100 hour grind, but when you love your job and your profession is also your passion, the day goes by very quickly,
I
and
can imagine.
it doesn't feel as long as it probably is when I add up all the time.
You
Yeah, so
should have
I'm
negotiated.
honored,
You
sir.
should have
Yeah.
negotiated an hourly contract. I thought you were a better negotiator. You should have called me.
I know,
I
I
could have
know.
gotten you a better deal.
Don't tell anybody, but I do this for free. But if it is independently wealthy, which I'm not.
I promise. No one, yeah, I would have to swear everyone that's listening into secrecy. And I think numbers wise, how many listeners do we normally get through IQ podcasts? Maybe 50,000. So a lot of people will be listening to our podcast, I hope, for today, because not only are you the top cop, the district attorney for the county of San Diego, which is the second largest district attorney's office in the state, I believe, and you have over 1,000 employees that work underneath you. Um, so that in itself is a full time job. So what do you do for in your free time? Do you have any?
No. I I
Honesty.
was fortunately I was never one to it's very popular these days, and to especially with the younger generation, and good for them, to seek balance, right?
Hmm.
To seek work life balance, as they call it. And I certainly support my younger employees and any employees that in pursuing that. I have just never quite figured what that really means
Uh-huh.
out. But where I think where I definitely want to make sure that is I have a great life, because even though I don't have hobbies and I don't have free time, I have a great family,
Hmm.
and any time that I'm with them is a vacation, because I can let my guard down and I can just be comfortable and know that I'm cared for and not judged in any way. And so that feeds my soul, that
Mm. Yeah.
my faith, my personal life, so I'm fine. I don't need to golf or do whatever else people
Right.
do, or get my nails done, whichever, or any of that. That's gone out the window. I don't think it was ever in the window for me, but yeah.
Never showed up. Last week, I interviewed Cristiano Aman, who's one of my very close friends, and he's also on my board. And as you may know, he's just recently been promoted to CEO for Qualcomm. So he has a busy life like you do, with his 45,000 employees, whatever it is, around the world. And I asked him the same question, and he didn't dodge it, but I think you two might be cut from the same cloth. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah,
Okay,
well,
sounds
I'm glad that you don't feel the pressure, to find a break, because you get like you said, you get your solace from your family, and family is number one, of course, always. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I'd like to meet him one day. Sounds like a great person.
Well, of course, I'd be glad to make that happen. He is a great guy. He's a wonderful family. In fact, speaking of family, his family just created a program at Father Joe's called Saint Catherine of Cordona, and it's a
Mhm.
program for, I don't know if you've heard about it yet. It's brand new, and basically they'll be taking homeless women who are pregnant, and then they're going to get them into all of the care that they need, housing, health care, emotional care, certainly wellness for the new child. And so we're going to be promoting that program through our foundation as much as we can. And we've got all of our new human trafficking liaison officers going out to visit this new shelter in town to just really have a sense of what that new resource is, which is one of my major concerns. As you know, the San Diego Harbor Police and you and your office were going to be launching very shortly what I consider to be cutting edge training for human trafficking awareness throughout San Diego County at no cost. And my prediction is, because of this training and all the amazing work that you've done for decades with human trafficking, is that as we launch this program and more people become aware, we're going to have a lot more victims to deal with. And what is it? What do we do with them?
Yeah, Jeff, I'm really looking forward to that training launching. I do think it's going to be one of the best packed 20 minutes that is going to inform and educate and intervene and potentially save lives. I'm very, very excited. And thank you for all your work in figuring out how to fund it and how to organize it, and the whole team that is working on it. I was really proud to be part of that project. As you know, I've spent a lot of my career. I built a special victims unit, sex crimes and human trafficking, that has become a national standard. And our unit was compared to the Law and Order Special Victims Unit as the live version. New York Times, which doesn't give a lot of compliment to prosecution offices, said that it was the real life version of Law and Order Special Victims Unit, which makes me very proud of all the people that have made that happen. But the reason that we care so much, and you understand this now that you've deep dived into this issue about this, is human trafficking is more than destroying the bodies of young people and more disproportionately women and girls, but it also is destroying their spirit, their soul, the very thing that makes people human. That dignity, that feeling that you are not a product to be sold, to be bought, to be traded. And this is why I've devoted so much of my effort in building a national standard type region that we have and unit, is because we can't have this in America. We can't have it anywhere in the world, but I only have control here. And we've got to, when we know that there's 5,000 victims annually of just sex trafficking, you think these are our kids, and what are we doing everything to stop it? Are we doing everything to prevent it in the first place? And that is part of that video that we're working on, is how do we intervene early? How do we prevent it? And how do we, when we recover someone, how do we do it the right way so that they don't end up in harm's way?
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about it.
It's a huge issue. It's a worldwide issue, obviously, and certainly it's a big deal here in San Diego County. And I always tell people, I said, I don't care where you are in this county, it's happening. And I know you've said, I think you even say it on our awareness training, that every single high school in this county has had a human trafficking incident of some sort occur. Every single one. So that's Rancho Santa Fe, Encinitas, Carlsbad, Santee, La Jolla, National City, you name it, Imperial Beach, and it's out there, and people are just either unaware or unwilling to look at it, with honesty. And so hopefully, with our training and with your enormous support, and believe me, having you partner with us on this project is very, very meaningful for me and our team, and certainly the Harbor Police Department and all of their involvement. So, before we open this big box up, thank you personally from me for your support, because I can shout to the stars as much as I want, but I've got you standing next to me, or with Chief Stainbrook, and all of our, the victims and our experts that are on that program. It just wouldn't have that same impact. So
Well, thank you, Jeff. It takes all of us, bringing our talents in the variety of areas to get this job done of abolishing this modern day slavery from our midst. It is the second largest criminal industry in the world, in the United States, and locally here in San Diego. And it, just prospers off of greed. It's extremely profitable, and the victims are easy to come by. And one of the big drivers, like you said, that it's happening in every region. When I started fighting human trafficking, we saw it more in certain zip codes that were marked with poverty, socioeconomic issues, other issues, runaway kids. Now with social media being able to penetrate every zip code, every home, every teenager has got a phone, has got a tablet. The predators have learned that, and they're able to come through, and they're able to use their deception, their fraud, their different psychological manipulations to enter any bedroom in anywhere in our county. Rich, poor, great parents, parents who are neglectful, everyone is at risk. Really, no one is immune. And the true vaccine for it is empowerment through education, prevention, and having the facts so our kids can fight and be resilient.
yeah, excellent points. So one of the things that we're doing that dovetails into this fight on human trafficking is our foundation. We've adopted Perkins K-8 school in the Barrio Logan, where 3 years ago their homelessness ratio was around 3%, and today it's upwards of 40%. Their reading comprehension rates were in the mid 80s prior to the pandemic. Now they're in the high 30s, low 40s% reading comprehension. The food insecurity. They check all of the boxes as a prime target for human traffickers. Especially these younger women, young girls, 6th, 7th, 8th graders, because as you rightfully have indicated, the age of these victims has dropped precipitously, over the last few years, where, maybe it was 18, 19 years old, and then now it's 14, 15 years old. So we're aggressively pursuing a holistic approach to Perkins K-8, hopefully as an example to be implemented throughout the county, in particular where you've got underperforming elementary and high schools, where we're not only educating the parents, we're working with the children, we're working on the food insecurity. We have over 50 volunteer tutors that come in and work with second, third, and fourth graders on reading comprehension. We have a pathway for careers for the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. We hope to be installing what we call an enrichment center sometime in early 2022, where we start teaching life skills to these elementary and middle school kids. There's a significant need in our industries for people that have skills. Employers like Qualcomm and GAFCON and NASCO and Solar Turbines and the Midway and your office and the Port of San Diego. Everyone needs school-trained, skilled laborers at whatever level. If they want to take the educational route, that's great. We'll try and support it. But if they want to learn how to work a 3D printer, or if they want to learn about, power generation or arc welding, whatever that is, we're gonna have those awareness skills being taught at well, we hope to. It's not a done deal yet, but the way I like to do business is I like to put it out there as my vision, and then try and engage people and get them excited about it, just like we did with human trafficking and all our other initiatives here at the foundation. And then that way we get people engaged early on. And who knows, things happen, but they don't happen if you don't do anything about it.
You're absolutely right, Jeff. I'm so amazed by the San Diego community and the foundation and all of the generosity of people, because I've always believed in this model of partnering with the community on public safety, because there are so many things that we do really well in San Diego in law enforcement, in prosecution. We really pursue being the best of the best in the nation in terms of fairness and equity, everything else. But at the same time, it is magical when you can have the support of the community, where the needs that we can't fill, those needs for housing, for shelter, for tutoring, for mentoring, all of the things that you mentioned, that are the things that build that resiliency, that then helps our children not become victims to drug addiction, substance abuse, numbing their pain, their trauma, human trafficking, child exploitation, pornography, all of the threats that come their way. If we can put food in their belly, put their mind, get their mind basically energized with knowledge and with intelligence and with opportunity. That is the way that you really build the safe communities. So I thank you for that.
Well, thank you for saying that. But it's obviously it's a community's job. I mean, you hate to use that phrase, but it does take a village. And well, I don't hate to. It actually makes sense.
Yes.
But without that, community involvement, and what, and you mentioned how people are so supportive. It's surprising to me how many people are supportive, but you have to ask them. It's like, in my brain, I'm going, duh. We have a problem here. Let's get on it. Let's get something done. But without that awareness, without kind of like knocking them on the head a little bit, to wake them up, or just asking, saying, "Hey, would you be willing to do this or do that?" It was like when we launched what we call Teachers Rule. That's RUL. It stands for Relationship, Unity, and Love at Perkins. When we realized that the comprehension rates were so low. I mean, technically, those students in second, third, and fourth grade shouldn't even move into the next grade level, because of if you can't read, you can't learn. Period. End of statement. So we just reached out on a very casual basis, and before we knew it, we had 53 volunteers, and these are educators, doctors, lawyers, professional people, college students, high school students, um, police officers, who said, absolutely, I will come in and start tutoring these children. So we were only able to do that for 4 weeks because we learned of this, towards the end of the school year. But obviously, come September, when school starts back up, we're going to be on this with even more people, and plus we hopefully get to be on campus, where we get that face to face instead of a Zoom call with these kids. But I was really not shocked, but I was very pleased, pleasantly surprised at how many people just jumped at the opportunity to give 2 or 3 hours a week of their time in their really busy time frames, and read with children. And I thought, you go. That's
amazing.
Yeah.
Music to my ears. And this need is going to be huge. This is something that's been of great concern for me, is as kids were distance learning, kids that are from the financially poorer areas with deficient Wi-Fi and not having all of the tools and the support systems, with a parent who's a college grad and other things to assist them in that learning. We saw, we see now statistically that a lot of kids fell behind from every level, but kids that were in these poor kids of color, kids in lower socioeconomic areas fell behind even further. And also, things that keep me up at night are that we saw that like you said, the human trafficking task force deal with victims at younger ages because they have so much free time and they're being, seduced essentially online to
Sure.
go to a party. And then we also saw kids at younger and younger ages becoming victims of online exploitation. NCMEC, our National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, as well as our Internet Crimes Against Children, saw these formulas where there was at least a double effect. So when these kids go back to school, one thing that I'm preparing for is to make sure our teachers are trained, that they can detect the signs so that kids can disclose and we can address the trauma as early as possible and also hold those offenders accountable. Just because
Mhm.
we went through COVID doesn't give you a free card to harm kids. And
Mm-mm.
we're
Right.
gonna find you. We're gonna hold you accountable. And so we're preparing to make sure that we've got the resources and the ability to make things right as we have these kids return to school.
Well, I wouldn't want you prosecuting me. That's for sure. So my wife and I, we have a horse ranch up in North County, and when we bring people up there, like Sarah Morgan and her family, they're coming up there tomorrow. In fact, the people from IQ Podcast, and there's a gate that people have to actually open in order to get into the ranch itself, and a lot of people have trouble with the gate. And I always say, well, be smarter than the gate. Well, we're a lot smarter than the human traffickers, these horrible people, these criminals. And so we can outsmart them, and we can outperform them, and we can outspend them. We can do all of the things that we need to do as long as, like you say, people are engaged in the process. So we're gonna
Right.
jump on this
For
this
sure.
tiger and take it to the ground. Um,
Yes,
so
the fact that this training is going to go into the very hotels and motels where a lot of this activity happens, the all of the tourism industry and all of the places where entertainment and conventions and hotels and motels are a beautiful thing for San Diego,
right,
absolutely. But they're also a place where this activity can take hold and can happen in secrecy behind closed doors unless you've got hotel staff and hospitality staff that are heads up and can see those modest, those subtle signs. So I think this is going to be something copied nationally.
good.
That often happens where we start something in San Diego and this becomes the national model. We just wrote the best practices paper for nationally for the judiciary on how to have judges understand human trafficking as they see it in their courtrooms. So, and I see this training also taking hold nationally, Jeff. So watch out.
I've been warning people. In fact, you met Corey Voss and her team who've been doing the videography and the content and all of that for this training. And the other day she was kind of exhausted, and I said, "Well, do you want some really good news?" And she goes, "Yeah, what's that?" And I said, "We're going to go national with this thing." And she if I think if she was in the same room, she might have given me that black eye that we were talking about. But she's not a violent person, but um,
Yeah, she's phenomenal. You could
she's
tell she gets it when she was producing and filming. I so enjoyed working with her, a real class act.
yeah, for sure. Wonderful family. In fact, we had her daughter involved. Her son was involved. We had the daughter of Cristiano Amon. She's uh, a media arts student, graduate student. So we had a lot of really young, exciting, um, informed talent working on this project. But we only have 6 silos in this first program we're launching. Mostly focused, like you said, on hotels, airport, convention center, that sort of restaurants. But we're going to be adding emergency room training. So for all those physicians, we just have a new board member, Dr. Sean Daneshman from Scripps. And so he's going to make sure that we get that training into the Scripps, especially in their ER departments. And then, like you said, the school teachers, the schools themselves. I mean, that's ground zero. This is where these traffickers they're laying in wait for these potential victims. So, we're definitely on top of it.
That's great. Wonderful.
So I know you have a busy schedule, and Patty told me that I was not to go over 30 minutes or else she was going to deal with me. And I'm not sure what that means. Probably something like handcuffs or something. Could be that kind of an unpleasant situation. So I'm not going to keep you longer, but it's been an absolute pleasure to spend time with you. I look forward to many other opportunities to visit and talk about our programs. And thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. It is a real honor to be with you. It just lifts my heart to work with people like you that care and that really make us what we are in San Diego. We're a very special place. We're still the safest urban county in America, and there's a reason for that. It's not just my team who are amazing and law enforcement. It's leaders like you. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Just one quick note. I met with Julie Croker the other day for lunch, and she's going to engage with us in terms of our release of this program with her 900 members. So that will be a huge boost to us throughout the tourism industry. So
Yeah,
we're going to make this happen. Yeah,
Yep.
You and me, we're gonna knock them out.
For sure. Let's do it.
But you got
Take
it.
care and have a good day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.